Welcome back to Collaboration Conversations. I'm your co-host, Regina Partain-Bergman. Again, my co-host, Pearl Cox, is unable to be with us at this time, which has left an opportunity for us to have some guest co-hosts, which has been so much fun. And today, my special guest co-host is Leisa Sakai. And Leisa, I am so excited to have you here, Leisa, and all of the wonderful ladies that you've brought with us. So Leisa is a bucket list planner. Now, I have never heard of that before meeting Leisa, and I think it's just awesome. She guides female professionals and their families to leverage their dollars to live a lifestyle that they love now and in the future. Welcome, Leisa. How are you today?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm good. I'm good. It's a Thursday. I'm energetic. It's always good. And I got five other ladies here that I just adore, and I think it's going to be wonderful.
Awesome. I am so looking forward to meeting each of them and learning more about them and engaging with them in this conversation. So, Leisa, give us just a brief bit of your journey getting to where you are now and who you serve and why that's important to you.
Yeah. So I am 12 years into my journey of being in the financial services space. As you said, I do bucket list planning. So I take financial planning, I put it on its head. We take a look at how do we use the dollars we have now to enjoy life and in the future. And how do we make sure we're taking care of ourselves and really loving life? That's what life is supposed to be about. That's what money is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be fun. So we try to bring the fun back into money. And we do that, using some different techniques and, traditional financial planning elements as well. And so I'm in Northern Arizona, but I work with everybody all across the country. I love doing that. Love working with strong female professionals who bring me into their families and help sort out the chaos sometimes that they feel is there. And we bring clarity, awareness, and hopefully to financial independence. That's the ultimate goal. So that's
I love that. I love that. And I really like that, bringing fun back into money. How many of us have had money not be fun, right? I love that, bringing that back in and that clarity and awareness. Awesome. So glad to have you here today, Leisa, and to be our guest co-host today. Would you please introduce our guest for us?
Perfect. Well, in no particular order, I'm just going to go from my screen. I've got Theresa Ashby, Dr. Theresa Ashby here. Introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Leisa and Regina. I just absolutely love the work we're doing because it's all about helping people take their intellectual capital and spread it out to everyone. And, over at Kaleidoscope Media Services, we're on a mission to help 100,000 businesses grow and scale by adding digital products like e-learning courses. And, really, I say I'm a recovering corporate executive because about 10, 12 years ago, I left corporate America to go out and be able to really make an impact on the world. And so I love working with coaches, authors, speakers, athletes that are retired and have so much to share about that leadership opportunity and teach others. And so I come to the table with just an excitement of how we collaborate with not only our clients, but with other women such as each of you on here. So delighted to be here.
Awesome.
All right. Well, let's move to Debra Eckerling. Tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled. I know like half of the panel, so 3 of you are new friends, and that's always, you can't reach your goals on your own. You need to constantly be expanding your community, which is why I'm thrilled to be part of this conversation. I'm Debra Eckerling, author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and creator of the DEB method for goal setting simplified. I believe changing your life is challenging enough. The instructions need to be easy. So I made the instructions really, really easy. I am a corporate consultant, a speaker, workshop leader, and I am on a mission to change goal culture in and out of the workplace. So I lead workshops, I kick off events. I've got a specialty in event outcome optimization. So basically helping people plan to make sure they actually get all the goodness events have to offer. And I lead workshops and do consulting as well. So great powerhouse. I'm looking forward to diving into the conversation. So thank you for having me.
Awesome.
We got some amazing women. I'm so excited. Anyhow, next is Leisa Reid.
Hi, it's like a reunion of sorts. Very excited. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Leisa Reid, founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now and the OC Speakers Network. When people think of speakers, they usually think of me because I absolutely love helping people who have that deep desire to speak, like they're called to speak for the purpose of growing their business, maybe attracting their clients, maybe they're a coach or an author, and they just don't know how to put that talk together. So we start with getting their talk ready to rock. And then, of course, we keep the wheels going even faster and helping them learn how to get booked and stay booked for the rest of their career, regardless of where they live or what their industry, maybe they change industries, that's okay. I like to make sure people have like the nice, easy tools to move forward for as long as they choose to be a speaker. So that's what I'm all about today. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Love it. That's
Fantastic.
awesome. Okay, Pam, I'm going to ruin your last name. Pam Drzewiecki. Did I say it right this time? Oh, good. I always try.
I have to thank you. Thanks, Lisa, for having me. Regina, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as
everybody
well.
else here on the panel today. Drzewiecki, yeah, that last name, it took me a very long time to learn it. And I have to say, the name is hard, but life is really good. So that's a trade-off, right? That's an absolute trade-off. I'm come from the insurance industry for 28 years, from pool secretary to chief operating officer, where I hired an executive coach to help me be a better leader. And she ended up coaching me right out of the business. And I've had my own business, Powerful Purpose. And my community is the Purpose Den. And what I do is I help women thrive, not change their lives, but figure out what they could do. So when they hit their head on the pillow at night, they're tired because they loved what they did. They still had 20 million tasks to check off, right? But they really were engaged with the chapter or the season that they're in right now. And collaboration has been very big for me for so many years, from the insurance industry, right? From referrals and working with other executives to meeting Lisa through other networking, and just helping my clients and my members just grow by sharing goodness with them from other people. So I'm really happy to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, we're so happy you're here. And last, but certainly not least, because Stacey dropped a lot of stuff to be here, and we're so appreciative of that, Stacey O'Bryrne.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for inviting me. Regina, thank you for having me. It's great to meet you, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. I'm based out of Orange County. This weekend, I'm in Las Vegas right now, suffering through Vegas. Suffering. I'm actually here for a training, and I've got a co-trainer running it so that I can be here. This is how excited I am about it. You know, this is one of my favorite subjects. I have built 2 7-figure businesses and 6 six-figure businesses 100% through word of mouth marketing and collaboration. So this is one of my favorite subjects. I'm the podcast host of Sell Without Selling. We get about 60,000 downloads every month. I would love to invite each and every one of you to be on my podcast. I'm very excited about it. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of Pivot Point Advantage. I'm an NLP, Neurolinguistics Programming Master Trainer. I fumbled into NLP from when I got discharged from the Army. I ended up with PTSD, and I looked for some healing. And through that, at that time, I was an inside salesperson. And as I was going through the learnings and the healing of NLP, my sales started doubling and tripling and quadrupling. And corporate America did what corporate America always did, and that was promote me so I could make a bunch of mini-me's. And so I am also a reformed corporate junkie. I've been out of corporate America since 2001. And have built several businesses since then. I am a serial entrepreneur. That does not mean I eat cereal. It just means I'm addicted to lifestyle. And I help people get out of their way so that they can get on their way and finally have their way. And I have a belief that when you do the inner work, the outer always works. And I teach them both.
Awesome. Perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
What
That
a
one sounds
panel.
true.
I'm so excited to learn more about what all of you ladies are doing. Lisa, fantastic job in inviting guests today.
I knew
Absolutely
exactly who
fantastic.
needed to be here. I thought it was
You
perfect.
did. This is wonderful. Ladies, I'm truly honored that you're here today. Let's dive in and talk about collaborations. And I heard many of you say that collaborations have been a huge part of your business. Stacey, let's dive into what you said there for a moment about building your business completely on referrals. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started out in a printing company. I had bought a very distressed printing company, inherited the partner that came with it. Both Lisas actually know this journey and story, and I had taken the business from bankruptcy to a thriving 7-figure business. And the previous owner, who turned out to be my partner, he was really good at printing, really bad at business leadership, communication, and sales. And the P&L was really, really upside down. And I wanted to be very cautious of infusing my money into it because the business had had really bad practices. So I started networking. I started small business professional networking. I started collaborating with people. I found a lot of potential power partners that I started strategically aligning with and adding value to the relationships. And, doors continued to get open for me, and I continued to open doors for others. And, we used to do power partner buddy calls where we would take a power partner into one of our top clients and introduce them to the decision makers. And that really made business grow. And then unfortunately, my partnership went south. I woke up with 16 cents in the bank. How people do some things is how they do everything. I'll just lovingly say that he made sure he was very comfortable and no one else was. So we ended up in court for about 4.5 years, and I needed to find a way to redefine myself. So I jumped into direct sales, and all of my collaborative relationships rallied around me. And it's where I learned that this is really a human process. And, within 2.5, 3 months, I didn't know anything about direct sales. I didn't know anything about MLMs. And within 2.5, 3 months of this core group of people really rallying around me, I was making $20,000 and $30,000 a month. And then they went out of business, and I had hundreds of people coming up to me going, "How do you keep doing this? How do you keep doing this?" And I never answered that question before. And then I realized I knew things most didn't. So I started Pivot Point, and Pivot Point Advantage obviously has a different set of relationships, power partners, and strategic alliances because it was a different focus than printing was. My core focus is small business owners, entrepreneurs, and independent sales professionals, and that relationship just came so easy. I found that the more authentic, transparent, and congruent I was, and the more I showed up for other people, the more I got surrounded by people who showed up for me. And it became the most beautiful gift. And within a year, Pivot Point was making 7 figures. I had no online presence until late 2019. I started my podcast early 2020 before the pandemic. For me, I never got into the digital realm, and I've just recently caught up to the millennium. And today we're still thriving through adding value to each other. And, I'm digitally because I get to be. I'm digitally because of what I do, I'm supposed to be. And, for me, it's always about the relationship. For me, it's always about the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Relationships key for sure.
There are so many good things in there. We're not going to be able to do everything we want to do in an hour, folks. This is good stuff. I'm going to have you all back again. But could we all talk just a little bit about some of the things that you said there, Stacey, that I think it would be great for us to touch on. And two of those are the adding value to the relationship, which leads also to that point about, showing up for others and they show up for you. Then I also love the power partner buddy calls. Anybody else doing something like that or similar? And can you share about that as well? And thank you, Stacey. That was just awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Lisa.
I'll share on that. Yeah, Stacey's a great networker and just amazing businesswoman, as of I'm sure all of you. I don't know you, Pam, yet, but I'm sure you're amazing too, and Regina. So one of the things that I've used, I booked over 600 speaking engagements, and I help my clients do that as well. But the caveat is with no cold calling. So similar to Stacey, I'm like, we don't need to make this hard and struggling and awful and awkward. Like, no. But instead, having those deep relationships, and what I call the speaker soulmate system, it's something that I made up because it was organically created. It started with one woman who I had met at my OC Speakers Network, which I had created to collaborate with other speakers. And she and I started having these power partner calls on a regular basis. And over the years, we've referred hundreds of speaking engagements to each other without having to cold call. So it's that rolling out the red carpet, kind of like what Stacey was saying, of like, we weren't walking people into the office, but it was a roll out the red carpet via email introduction, so that person is edified and looks amazing. And it's someone that I could put my name on, right? And then vice versa. And so I teach that, actually just taught it this week in my speakers network, because to me, it's so obvious and easy. And I don't know why everyone's not doing it, but just like what you're saying, Stacey, it's not obvious to everyone. It's not easy to everyone. It's easy for us as connectors, but for people who aren't maybe a natural born connector, it can be a little challenging. So I always say you don't have to meet thousands of people, just meet those core people, build that relationship with trust and serving each other, and sky's the limit.
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
Leisa Reid and I met because people kept telling us we should meet each other. And Lisa was did her talk for Entrepreneur Speakers Network. And I was like the next week, and Lisa was talking about her speaker soulmate. And I'm like, this is it. This was like the straw. And I just reached out. I said, Lisa, I believe we're speaker soulmates. Let's be friends. And she said, everybody keeps telling me to meet you. So sometimes those connections are out there. You just have to set goals, set networking goals. This is,
and we don't live near each other. Yeah, we don't even live near each other. So it's just literally through the airwaves.
I love it.
Exactly.
Well, that's how I met you, Debra. Just, hanging out, didn't even get to see you in person until this is the first time we've seen each other face to face. I think, we're talking about collaboration and strategic partnerships and relationships and showing up. For me, it's taken time, to realize that it's also ensuring that those relationships are of equal integrity. You have the same philosophies. You have your drive is the same. Where you want to go in life and in business. Because I often think that people think, oh, I want to collaborate with that person. And they see him across the room and they beeline over there and they're like, I want to do all this collaboration. And to me, that's not the deep rooted opportunity of what collaboration is. What it is I get to meet people, and then we see each other. We network together in the sense of, we may sit next to each other eating some food and having some conversation and laughing. And then we move into an opportunity where now we maybe do a little bit of business together. And now we get a little more trust together. And then we can move into this, what I find is true collaboration, true strategic partners. I also find we have a half a dozen, that's it, of true people that are in our circle. That doesn't mean I don't have other people that I can use and refer and collaborate with, but there's varying levels. And for me, that's what I have found has become really important, and it makes the relationships enjoyable and really worth having your own business.
I think that's so profound and so true. And I love that about the different layers of collaboration and building that relationship. So, and then you're right, there's only a few people that you really have that tremendous relationship with, that you support each other through thick and thin. It's not about business. Business is a piece of the relationship.
Right.
Yeah. Pam, I know you had something to say there.
I find that while I'm collaborating, just being a really good listener is so critical, right? Like really sitting back and listening to the conversation, and from there it builds. So even like in the insurance industry, we were strictly in like life insurance, disability, annuities. We could do security, but we collaborated with somebody from an agency that did security because that collaboration made more sense, right? Because then we were able to spread our goodness with other people. I really find that, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Bob Berg from the Go Giver series, right? So it's the same thing there. It's just showing up and over serving and being there available to help other people. And even inside my community, when I'm doing video casts, which is like a podcast, it's not me. It's bringing in somebody else who's an expert. I might know that area and I might be able to do it well, but it's so much nicer when you bring somebody else in that's an expert in that area. So I think listening and sharing your talents are really an important part of collaborating.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lisa, how about, Debbie?
Go ahead,
Deborah?
Oh, well, what I was going to say is, and I love what Pam's talking about, the live show that I do. So every Sunday night, I lead the Gold Chat Twitter chat. And then on Mondays, I bring in 3 friends to dive into the topic of the week. So, and for me, this is really odd. I'm used to leading the conversation, but fun. So really happy to be included in this. But this is what I have found is, and it's all, goals. Everything has to do with goals, and it's merging the personal and the professional. So I theme up every month, and the one in November coming up is success, for example. But each week is just like a subset of whatever that theme is. But the thing that I love the best about these conversations is, so it's Gold Chat Live, and then it magically becomes the Deb Show podcast. But bringing these people together, I saw just this week, I saw 2 people who were guests together, were guests on each other's show. So it's beyond, it's the magic that we have, but the magic that's created for the future. Lisa's been on before, and Leisa Reid has been on, and Lisa's, my new friend Leisa Sakai is going to be on coming up in the new year. But it's making genuine connections, and then sharing these people with your people, and they share, and so on. And they told 2 friends, and so on and so on. So that's really the crux. And I have to extend the invitation that Stacey did to have you all come and join a Gold Chat Live conversation in the new year.
That sounds fun.
I think the other thing that I do a lot, and I think every single person on this chat, other than Regina and Debra, because you're both a little newer to my community, have experience, which is when I'm doing one-to-ones with people, like you go to networking, somebody wants to have a chat, you sit there. I take those times to really listen to what that person's trying to accomplish and try to pair them up with other people that I think could maybe benefit them better than I could, or that could be a good power partner for them, or is just somebody that they should know. And by doing that, you gain a lot of trust, because there's nothing in it for you, right? But if I know that I can connect them to, let's say, Theresa, and that they could have a really good relationship and maybe help build each other's businesses, that's a form of collaboration that I think, even though you're not involved in the full relationship that they're building, if you're constantly trying to listen and trying to see how you can help somebody else, again, circling back to value, that is key, because in the end, it's going to help benefit you because you're trying to benefit others and you're trying to bring real, true, authentic value to them and trying to connect them to people that can help, can help them, that they can help, that kind of thing. That is to me, that's how I do a lot of collaboration. I look around this and I realize I think I'm the only one without a podcast or a show of some kind. So that's probably got to change. But but that's how I do collaboration now, because I don't have a market to be able to bring people on. But that's the way I've built business. Leisa Reid and I have been networking together for I don't even want to mention how many years, probably. Yeah, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Well, no, maybe 10. Anyway,
yeah,
I want to give you a shout out.
Too long, but I still love it.
Leisa Sakai is like one of the best collaborators known to this planet.
She is.
And so
I would
we
say the
gotta
same about
really
you,
give
for
you
sure,
props.
but-
Yes,
She is what we call a super powered connector. I just actually started a new group. Some of Lisa's aware of it, I think, but a new group called Super Powered Connectors, and we're doing some social events right now, and we'll see where that goes. But I 100% agree with what you just said, Lisa. It's about that listening and knowing and understanding that other person and what their needs are, and then thinking, who do I know that I can connect them with? And there doesn't have to be anything in it for you other than deepening the relationship.
Exactly.
Coming back to what Theresa said, being on that same place of, you talked about having the same level of integrity and some of those things, Theresa. And I think that, it's lost my word. Somebody fill in a word for me.
Well, you know what I think it is, and I think, Lisa, I agree with you. You have this essence about you. It's as though it's not work for you. It's just a part of your being.
It's authentic, so authentic.
Right? And you kind of just do it. And the next thing you know, you're being invited to be on a fabulous panel. And it feels that the other thing on the receiving end, it feels good and it helps shore you up. So I think that's why I like being able to send people to other people and just have this opportunity to have this dialogue, because together, everyone, all ships rise together, right? And it builds that relationship that is just different.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great feeling.
It
It's an
is.
absolutely wonderful feeling when you can introduce people. Stacey?
My brain's going a mile a minute right now. This is such an incredible topic and just panel and conversation, on what Dr. Theresa said was, it's really important to understand the depth and the need of the depth for the collaboration, for the strategic relationship, because shared value systems are extremely important. It is really important for you to understand how this person thinks, how this person responds or reacts, what's important to them. Are they showing up for self or others? Because your reputation gets attached to everyone you connect with. Yeah. And on Pam's point, and I also believe it was both Debra's and Lisa's as well, it's really important to be able to communicate very, very specifically to people. The human process, we process in pictures. And because we process in pictures, if you speak ambiguously, then people can't attach a name or a picture to somebody. If you get very, very clear and very specific, then it's easier for people to collaborate with you. That whole concept of birds of a feather flock together. Make sure that you're connecting people to the right flock, or it's going to be a direct reflection on you. To avoid name dropping, yet to make a point. When I first started Pivot Point, My very first ask in a networking environment was a good referral for me today. In this order would be an introduction to Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, and Les Brown. Well, the whole room laughed at me. And somebody told me, get your head out of the clouds. And I'm like, how is that in the clouds? They're all doing what I aspire to do. Why wouldn't I want to meet with them? Well, I ended up meeting Tony's son. I ended up getting invited to John Maxwell's private 60th birthday party. And somebody in the room was a direct friend to Les Brown, was actually Les Brown's West Coast dentist. And just out of the blue, one day my phone rings. And for those of you who don't know, NLP is a great sales tool. Well, whenever I'm bored in an airport or whatever, I'll mess with telemarketers. So I didn't know the number. I answered the call, and the voice on the other line said, is this Stacey O'Bryrne? Well, telemarketers always botch my last name. And I'm like, yeah, this is Stacey O'Bryrne. Who's this? And the voice on the line said, this is Les Brown. And I said, get out of here. Who's punking me? And he goes, no, really, this is Les Brown. And I said, no, really, who's punking me? And he hung up on me. And I just thought that was the rudest thing. And then he FaceTimed me. And I don't know about you guys, but I've never been FaceTimed by a telemarketer. And now I can't get my iPhone to open. It won't open. I'm like, I look like a mad woman in the middle of the airport. And it finally opens, and there he is. And he goes, do you believe me now? And I go, uh-huh. And he goes, so a mutual friend of ours told me you wanted to talk with me. What do you want? And I said, for that person to tell me you were calling me so I could prepare. And we had the most beautiful hour and a half conversation. And he knew I was writing a book at that time, and he asked me what my book was about. So I told him. And it was Secrets to Becoming a Master Networker. And it was everything I had done to build a 7-figure business 100% through word of mouth marketing. And he asked me who wrote the foreword. And I wrote down the word forward on a piece of paper. And he goes, well, who wrote your foreword? And I said, well, if I'm going to be completely transparent, I just found out I needed one. And he laughed and he said, every good book deserves a good foreword. Who are you going to ask? And I said, well, sir, you just heard I just found out I needed one. Can I get back to you on that? And I'm right in the middle of bankruptcy. I'm right in the middle of this lawsuit. And he goes, honey, he goes, I'd be honored if you would allow me to write the foreword to your book. And I just start bawling in the middle of Dallas Fort Worth Airport. And, he wrote the foreword to my book. He blasted it out to his community. I sold 60,000 books in one day. I became an international bestseller. And he just took me under his wing, and he showed me the whole game of speaking. And I've been on some of the world's largest platforms just because of an ask. So if I can implore anything in collaboration and asking, it's up your ask, get rid of your butt, and know who you're aligning with. Because, when you sleep with fleas, you get bit. And when you fly with angels, you go high. Mm-hmm.
Can I,
Wow.
First of all, I'm like, right. And something that you mentioned before, I think needs to be underlined and exclamation pointed, which is that foundation. You can't, Leisa and Leisa probably know this, you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. Take the time to gift yourself. Think about the life you want. What does that look like? And you start there. Yeah. Because you can have anything and everything, but you need to, and I think I'm paraphrasing everybody, you need to focus on what it is that makes you unique. I'm all about the mission and motto. What do you do? What makes you unique? And how do you help? And then that motto, you shorten it, and so it's fun and snappy, and it really, it encompasses all that you are and all you believe in. Mine is goal setting simplified. I know, no shocks here. When you know who you are, what you need, that's the magic. Yeah. That's what you were talking about, Stacey. Think about the life you want. What does that look like? Then you can start claiming it. But if you don't do that first step, you're not going to get where you want to go. So thank you for sharing that story. That is now like one of my all-time favorite stories. I mean, amazing.
That was mind-blowing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. For sure.
Absolutely. You cannot dream too big. And people like to squash those dreams. Pam?
They do.
They
So-
do.
They do. So keep it to yourself, or just tell your really close circle, or maybe just like a little bit of that, because like it's like you're holding a secret when you've got like this big plan for yourself. And it's okay. You can like leak out little parts, but a part of being true to yourself is knowing who you are and what you want. And that way, when you make these connections, when you have these conversations, you know what the big asks are. You know who would be a good person. And the other thing, and then I'll let someone else talk. You were talking about, when we ask people what it is they need, I cannot tell you how many times I've asked that question and the person has said, "What do you mean? No one's ever asked me before how you could help me." And I'm like, then you're hanging around with the wrong people.
Yeah.
So-
I think, Debra, you and I talked about that. I hear that all the time on the financial planning side. People
Right.
come expecting for me to tell them what they're supposed to do. And I can give them guidance, but unless I know what you're trying to accomplish, I can't help. Because if they don't have a definite why, what they want out of life, what they want to accomplish, when, kind of an idea of a timeline, and I can help them get there, but it's I don't know what we're planning for. I don't know how we're investing. I don't know why we're investing this way. I don't know why we're putting money here instead of here, or in 2 buckets instead of 3 buckets. I can't help. So really knowing who you are and what you want, I think, is a key for really all of our businesses, whether it's, because I do a lot of personal planning. I know a lot of you work with business owners. I know Pam works somewhat with on the personal side as well, but it's just, that's so key. It's so key to getting good expert help, is really knowing who you are and what you stand for and why you want something.
Mm-hmm. I really think that parts of us are trained to keep it to ourselves because it sounds selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even if somebody's asking, what can I help you with? It's kind of like, oh, no, I got it. No worries. It's all together, right? Like everything's okay. But if we take a step aside, especially in the collaboration, what a gift we're giving them by allowing them to help us. And then in turn, they're allowing us to help them. And what a beautiful gift that is, right? You got a star. I love that.
You got a star. She gave you a star.
Oh, thank you. I love that. And I think that's the biggest thing is like the other, in my community, we do these things called the Roadmap to Thriving, and there are 8 buckets, and there's just this whole process of action plans and the feelings that you want to have inside that bucket to help you stay grounded. And one of them is a financial bucket. And one of the members, Lisa, did a beautiful 30-day financial gratitude, like thinking of your bucket list inside my community. And one of the women in the savings section, and this is a beautiful collaboration, was kind of like, I never even thought, I can't save. I got all this credit card debt. And Lisa was like, no, you need to. And it comes out a quarter later that I have to give a shout out to Lisa because I have this amount of money already saved in the past 3 months. Right. So the collaboration it was beautiful. Thank you for that, Lisa.
I didn't know she shared it with you. I'm so happy.
Yeah. She was so thrilled by it. And in a selfish side, that made me feel great, right? Because it all happened because of collaboration inside the community. But yeah, just allowing people to help and you help others. That's my biggest thought every time I go into a networking event, is the same thing, is how can I gift somebody something else? And it's either by giving them my services because they need it, not because I'm selling it to them, but because they truly need it, or it's because I could help them share their talent and their unique ability with somebody else. That's what I found is the power.
That's awesome.
I like to ask the question, how can I support you in that? When people come to me with their program, their whatever they want, how can I support you in that? And you get that answer back of, Gee, most people don't ask me that, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Can I interject on that really quick?
Yes,
Mhm.
please.
I think, well, a few things. When it comes to people responding to, I've never asked that before. Have you ever noticed that when you ask people what they want, it's easy for them to tell you what they don't want as opposed to what it is they want? Most
Exactly.
people, most people are programmed to think ambiguously. So when you ask them what it is they want, they're prime example, honey, what do you want for dinner? Well, I don't want Italian. I don't want Mexican. I didn't ask you what you didn't want. I want to know what you want. And they go, well, something good. See, when we have them really look at it from a reverse perspective, they start getting ambiguous. And a big part of that, Carl Jung had pointed out that human behavior, there's a concept known as perception as projection. And most people struggle with their worth, their self-esteem. So when they have these goals in their head, they think that it's for somebody else, or somebody else should accomplish it because they're not worth it, or they can't do it. And then when people ask them what it is they want, they project that out externally and said, well, I've never been asked that before, because they're not capable of taking that help, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so true. I like to go on.
Yeah, that's often true. Ladies, we have less than 10 minutes. So this has been so good. There's so much value in this panel. I can't wait to get to know you all better and to have the opportunity. I want to put it out there that I would love to interview any of you on my podcast. It's called Pursuing Profit with Principles. I would also like to offer you the opportunity to be a guest co-host here on the show and invite 5 other folks to the panel. And we may bring this panel back, Lisa. We may come back and do this again.
That'd be great. You're a great collaborator. By the way, Regina put it out there in a group that I was part of to bring in guests and collaborate and try to do. I mean, that's how this all got started, was because of her giving nature and her collaboration
Thank you.
belief. So, I mean, you're the ultimate collaborator. We wouldn't be here without that. So,
Thank you so much. Let's take, like a minute apiece and kind of go around the room, give your wrap up thoughts and your contact information. So, do you want to direct that, Lisa?
Sure, I can do that. Let's start in the same order. Let's just go the same way. So, Theresa, you're up.
All right, fantastic. Well, my final thought is I notice people that are truly collaborators and truly generous people, no matter how famous they are, will take the time. It's just, there's something about that. And I want people to see me as that. Like, I will take the time because that's just genuinely feels good for me to help other people. And I just respect every one of the panelists here. And some of you have been on my Heart, Hustle, and Humor podcast. So I open it up to each of you panelists to please reach out and let's do that. Lisa, a special thank you to you for being you and just being the person you are. I would love people to just connect with me on LinkedIn. Look me up, Theresa Ashby, drop me a note, tell me you've heard this panel discussion, and let's just hop on a phone and have a conversation.
All right, Debra, final thoughts, and how can people find you?
Well, I just love, if we did the math, there's going to be at least 50 collaborations just alone within this group. And that's just an amazing example of walking the walk, right? My final thought is gift yourself the time to have these conversations. So start setting networking goals, put a half an hour, a couple times a week. And that is your time to just reach out and say, hi, how are you? To someone you haven't heard from in months or years or whatever. Reignite those conversations, but just don't bitch. Just ask the questions at how you're doing. They're going to ask you. So just start on that with the genuine interest. When you love what you're doing, it shows. When you don't love, it really, really shows. So just be your light, wonderful self and let it leak all over the place. Same thing as Theresa, please find me on LinkedIn, drop a note and say, this is where we met. You can also find me at thedebmethod.com or info@thedebmethod. I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And thank you again for having me. This has just been my absolute pleasure to be here today.
Awesome.
Lisa, you're up.
Oh my gosh. Well, one thing I'll add, my flavor of collaboration is I'm a fan of the best friend relationship, and you're all welcome to be on my podcast, How I Met My BFF. It would be me and my best friend, one of my best friends, interviewing you and your best friend. If that resonates for you, please let me know. And we'd love to hear your BFF story and meet you and your BFF. It's very fun, and we really enjoy it. In fact, we just got back from Italy on a BFF trip, because we just well, hey, what what are you gonna do? You gotta have fun. You gotta have fun with your best friends. So I just got back on Saturday. People can find me on LinkedIn as well, even though my name's spelled a little funny. There's an extra E in there, Leisa. Or if you want to go on getspeakinggigsnow.com, that's gigs with an S, because of course you want more than one speaking engagement. You can get some 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs and other goodies. You're always welcome to go on that.
Fantastic. Pam?
Okay. One of the biggest things that I was thinking about was a technique that I use with my clients, and it's called the 90. And just sitting down and writing the 90 people that come to mind that you could have conversations with. And so that's my takeaway. Just spend a little time. It's 90. And people are like, I don't know 90 people. And it's like, yeah, you do. And if you really think about it, and you're just reaching out to them to have a conversation, not to sell them anything or even to promote them or anything like that, just to have a conversation. So get that going. And you could reach me on LinkedIn as well. It's DRZEWIECKI. If you click on my LinkedIn, I have that little thing that tells you how to say my last name.
If I still got it wrong.
But also, if you go out to powerful-purpose.com, you could find me there with all of my resources and information about my community. And there is a trial to come and visit me inside my den. So you're welcome to come.
It's a great
Thank you again, Lisa, for having me.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful community. I really encourage people to join it. It's been great. So,
and it was great to meet everybody.
Take us out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think my last final words are probably get really clear on who shares the same future perspective client as you. And, there might be a little overlap, and it's important to come from abundance and avoid a scarcity mindset, and really allow yourself to also get clear on what your value system is, what's important to you, because then you can start easily finding these values in people who are potential collaborative partners, and then get really clear on how you can each help each other. And to Pam's point, Harvard Review identified that the average 21-year-old knows 1,000 people. I think we have a little bit more experience than 21 years, so we probably can easily come up with a lot more than 1,000 people. You can always find me on LinkedIn, Stacey O'Bryrne. It's O''BYRNE. You can find me on my podcast at Sell Without Selling. It's nothing about sales and everything about success and mindset and motivation and how to do the inner work so the outer always works. And it makes sales a lot easier because you don't have to sell. And I invite each and every one of you to please be a guest on my podcast. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll just tear it apart and have a blast. And last but not least, look me up at pivotpointadvantage.com. And we've always got a lot of free downloads for you. And I really look forward to connecting. Just DM me on LinkedIn and let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Yeah, it was fun. I was on Stacey's podcast and it was super fun. It was wonderful. So I guess I should finish it up on that. So LinkedIn is where we all connect, obviously. I put a lot of content on LinkedIn. I'd love for people to connect with me there. And then our website is onevisionretire.com. And then I would say for the last thing about collaboration, I think when you're coming into relationships, because really that's what collaboration is, it's about finding and treating everybody with respect. I think that's lost a lot of times in these days of fast, move on to the next person, try to get a sale, try to do whatever, people have in their mindset. But if you come at people with true authenticity, wanting to learn more about them, be curious, be a learner, and with a boatload of respect for that person until they prove you wrong. Hopefully they don't. I think you're going to just build fantastic collaborations out there. That's kind of the key. That's what I've always done. It's worked for me. So that's how I would end my thought on that.
Fantastic. I'll just say amen to all of that, ladies. I don't need to add. You covered it beautifully. Thank you so much for all of you being here. Lisa, thank you for bringing everybody together and for being the guest co-host today. This has been phenomenal. I can't wait to get to know you ladies more and to collaborate, to grow our networks together. So again, I also extend that offer to interview any of you on my podcast. And also, if anybody is interested, I would like to invite you to join the Superpowered Connectors group. So with that, folks, we're going to wish you a great day, and we'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Bye for now.